Need some coins or MT for that God Squad you've always wanted? For fast and cheap currency, make sure to check out MMOEXP.com and use code ZERK for 5% off your order.
The whole thing wobbin', wobbin'. When I come around, got the whole thing wobbin'.
What's going on, guys? It's Zirksee at you today with another Madden Ultimate Team video, and today I'm going to be going over my Madden 23 base elite tight end predictions. Now, tight end is actually a little bit interesting because at the start of Madden 22, we actually only had 8 base elite tight ends, obviously so because, you know, there's just a lot less tight ends and like wide receivers where we had 28 of those. So this list is definitely not going to be as long as, say, the running backs, the QBs, whatever. But if you guys missed any of those videos, make sure you guys go and check them out. I'm going to have more of these videos coming out this week as well. I do want to give a shout out to Tony Cavs for being a part of the Noti Gang. If you guys want a chance to be shouted out in the next video, drop a like in the vid. Make sure you guys are subbed to the channel. Turn the notification bell on and comment down below. Noti Gang. And also, guys, if you want to check out Underdog Fantasy, you can use code ZERK to match first deposit up to $100 and follow me over on Twitter for my picks. And don't miss out on the huge giveaway that I'm currently running over on Twitter. That link will be at the top of the comment section as well. I am currently giving away 5 all Madden editions of Madden 23. Yes, 5 copies. Go check that tweet out. Link will be at the top of the comment section. But as I said, guys, I'm going to be going over my base elite tight end predictions. And as I said last year, we actually only had 8 tight ends, 2 of them being 80s. Gronk, of course, is retired now. And then there's usually, you know, one top dog that's an 88 overall, maybe not even 88 overall this year. We'll see exactly where my predictions land with this. But then we had Kittle, Waller, Andrews, and you're going to see some new names pop up in my quarterly predictions and some be replaced. Let's get into it. So coming in at an 80 overall, I'm going to have Zach Ertz here. Now, he was a 78 overall to start off this year, and he did have a, you know, decent year in Arizona. 74 catches, 763 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Definitely was quite a bit of a up year from the last year he played in Philly, where he only ended up having 335 yards and 1 touchdown. That was only in 11 games played though, whereas this year between Philly and Arizona, since he did get traded 6 games through from Philly, he ended up with over 700 yards, 74 catches, 5 TDs. I think he's good enough to be an 80. Oh, another tight end that I think is going to be an 80 overall is someone that was actually an 82 overall this year. That's Mike Goseki. Now, last year, he had 53 receptions for 703 yards and 6 TDs. Now this year, in 2 more games, he had quite a few more catches. He did have 20 more catches, but he only had 80 more yards, and he had 4 less touchdowns. And I really just feel like when we go through the rest of this list, you'll kind of see how this played out. There were a lot of tight ends that just outperformed him, and based on those guys outperforming him and how they like to do tight ends, I feel like we're just going to have a couple guys that are 80 overalls, and Goseki with 4 less touchdowns and with just, you know, 20 more catches, that is kind of good for 2 more games there. But with only 80 more yards in those 2 additional games as well, I feel like out of all of the tight ends that had base elites in Madden 22, I think he's probably going to drop down to an 80. I know not a huge, you know, down year in terms of stats because he actually had more catches, more yards, but the 4 less TDs I think is going to make quite a difference, and you'll see these other tight ends how their stats went. Up next, we have Dawson Knox, which again, I think is just going to be an 80 overall. He did have a decent year. Now, his receptions and his yards weren't the craziest. He only had 49 catches for 587 yards, but what gets him as an elite here at an 80 overall is the 9 touchdowns. The 9 touchdowns, especially for tight ends, I think matter a lot for their ratings, which is why I do have Goseki dropping down to an 80, but this is my last 80 overall tight end in here. Dawson Knox, Zach Ertz, Mike Goseki, 380 overall tight ends. Now getting a very nice jump though, I predict will be Dalton Schultz, who came into Madden 22 with just a 73 overall, but had a breakout season this year with 78 catches, 808 yards, and 8 TDs. So the yardage is there, the receptions are there, and the TDs are there. I don't think he's going to be that high, but I think he is going to be an 81 overall. Now, maybe I'm wrong by saying this, but I actually do not have a single tight end slated to be an 82 overall. I feel like the 3 guys I mentioned at 80 are good, and Schultz at an 81 I felt like is pretty good. Maybe they have Goseki like an 81 and Schultz at an 82 potentially, and then Kyle Pitts I would say at 83 overall. Now, Pitts had great yardage, 1,026 yards. He had 68 receptions, but the one issue is the touchdown. He only had one touchdown the entire year. So that's kind of holding him back. Otherwise, maybe you could even say 84 overall for Kyle Pitts because the yardage was really, really good for a tight end. But the one TD, I think he's only going to be an 83. However, I almost feel like more than likely Kyle Pitts is going to be the most sought after tight end at the beginning of the year, simply because his speed. In Madden 22 at the beginning of the year, of course, he was a rookie. He had a 78 overall with 84 speed. If he is, let's say, at 83 overall, I think we're talking about a 90 speed tight end potentially to start off the year, probably 88, 89 speed. Yeah, it's going to be good. Next up, we have Darren Waller, and with Darren Waller, he definitely had a bit of a down year. He did play in 5 less games, and in those 5 less games, unfortunately so, he had 52 less catches, went from 107 catches to only 55. Yardage went from almost 1,200 to 665, and touchdowns went from 9 TDs to 2 touchdowns. So Waller definitely will be coming down in overall. He is still, without a doubt, one of the best tight ends in the entire NFL, though. And with that, he's going to drop from an 85. I have him going to an 84. I really don't think he's going to fall any lower than 84. He's, without a doubt, one of the best receiving tight ends in the entire league. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting, and I'll explain why once we get to the next player. But as I always tell you guys, when it comes to specific positions and in general, just, how EA does stuff, last year we only had 8 tight ends, and none of them were, 87s or 88s, whatever. There's not multiple of them usually that high, and I don't think that EA is going to necessarily change that this year. So, with George Kittle, he played in 14 games, he had 910 yards, and he had 6 TDs. Definitely a very, very solid season, and he ended up getting this 86 overall for only playing in 8 games and having 48 catches on 634 yards and 2 touchdowns. So really, I feel like his numbers got slightly better, and I don't think he's going to go down, but I also don't think he's going to go up to an 87. I think Kittle is probably just going to stay the same at an 86 because I don't see them doing multiple tight ends at 87 or 88s. And I have someone that did better than Kittle that's going to be ranked ahead of him. And that would be Mark Andrews. Now, some people, I feel like out of all positions, this one may have people disagreeing with me the most because I have Mark Andrews slated in at an 87 overall, but not the highest tight end, and we'll get into that. But he started out the year with an 84 overall. Last year, he had 701 yards, 58 catches, 7 TDs. This year, way different. He had 107 catches, so 50 more catches there, 49 more catches, 1,361 yards, which is just incredible, and 9 TDs. So without a doubt, Andrews is either going to be the top tight end or number 2. I really don't see a way he's not an 87 or an 88, but the issue is the top guy, I think everybody just knows, is the best tight end in the NFL, and I think he's just going to stay at 88. And that would be Travis Kelsey. Now, Kelsey did have a, slightly worse year. He went from 105 receptions to only 92 this year. 1,400 yards to 1,125 yards, and 11 TDs to 9 TDs. So he did have a little bit of a down year, and Mark Andrews definitely had a better season overall. Andrews had the same amount of touchdowns, more receptions, and more yards than Kelsey, but I think Kelsey just being known as the best tight end in the NFL, I don't think that they're actually going to change him from an 88 overall. And this may surprise some people, but if you guys recall, I think it was not this year, of course, but I want to say it was last year. CMC ended up getting injured, but still was the highest overall running back to start off the year in Madden 21, I believe. And I think this is going to be the same thing. Not because he got injured, but just because he is still the best tight end in the league. And EA knows that, and I don't think they're going to remove him from being the top tight end. So I think Kelsey's going to stay 88 and Mark Andrews will be an 87. So with that being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. And if you did, make sure you guys drop a like in the video. And of course, hit that sub button down below. I'll see you guys next time.